Allah says in the Quran, and let these words land on your heart before anything else is said. And your Lord says, call upon me, I will respond to you. Surah Ghafir 60. And the Prophet Muhammad said, there is nothing more honorable to Allah than dua. Tirmidhi. Not your salah alone, not your fasting alone. Dua, the direct conversation between a servant and his Lord, is, in the words of the Prophet ﷺ, the most honorable act to Allah. Now take that truth and place it inside the context of these final 10 nights of Ramadan. Nights where the Quran was revealed. Nights where angels descend in multitudes. Nights where Laylatul Qadr hides like a jewel waiting to be found. And ask yourself honestly, when was the last time I truly believed Allah could do the impossible for me? Brothers and sisters, we are standing at the door of something extraordinary. The last 10 nights of Ramadan are not a conclusion, they are a climax. They are not the winding down of a blessed month. They are the point where everything intensifies. And if you have ever carried a burden in your heart that felt too heavy, too impossible, too far gone, then these nights were created for you. There are moments in life that are not like other moments. There are days that carry more weight than ordinary days. Hours that hold more significance than ordinary hours. And nights, certain nights where the fabric of what is possible is stretched far beyond what the human mind can comprehend. The last 10 nights of Ramadan are exactly that. They are not simply the concluding chapter of a blessed month. They are, in the sight of Allah, a concentrated burst of divine mercy, power and attention that has no equivalent anywhere else in the Islamic calendar. And if you have never truly understood their weight before, then perhaps this is the moment Allah has chosen for that understanding to settle into your heart. To grasp why these nights are so extraordinary, we must return to the Quran itself, the direct, uncreated word of Allah. He says in Surah Al-Qadr, indeed, we sent it down during the night of decree. And what can make you know what the night of decree is? The night of decree is better than 1,000 months. Sit with that. 1,000 months is approximately 83 years, more than most human beings will ever live on this earth. Allah is declaring that within these final nights of Ramadan, there exists one night that outweighs an entire lifetime of worship. This is not poetic language meant to inspire loosely. This is a divine, binding, eternal decree recorded in the book of Allah and confirmed until the day of judgment. What this means practically is breathtaking. It means that an ordinary person living an ordinary life, performing sincere acts of worship in these nights, is capable of achieving results that defy every human calculation. A person who stumbled throughout the year, who accumulated sins and regrets, who drifted and returned and drifted again, that same person in these 10 nights can experience a complete transformation of their spiritual standing before Allah. Because the mercy available in these nights is not allocated based on your past performance. It is poured generously, abundantly upon whoever turns sincerely to the one who controls all affairs. This is the pattern Allah established long before these nights. Throughout the Quran, He consistently demonstrates that He intervenes most dramatically at the precise point where human capacity reaches its absolute limit. When Musa alayhi salam stood trapped between a pursuing army and an open sea, Allah did not abandon him at the edge of the impossible. He parted the water. When Ibrahim alayhi salam was cast into a raging fire, Allah commanded the fire to be cool and safe. These were not coincidences, they were declarations that Allah specializes in situations that have no human solution. The last 10 nights carry that same declaration for you. They are not reserved for prophets or scholars. They are open right now to every broken heart that dares to believe that Allah is greater than their circumstances. That belief placed sincerely inside these sacred nights is where the impossible begins to move. There is a reason the Prophet ﷺ did not simply tell us to make any dua during Laylatul Qadr. He was specific. When Aisha radiallahu anha asked him, the most beloved person to him on this earth, what she should say if she caught Laylatul Qadr, he did not give her a long list of supplications. He did not tell her to recite elaborate formulas. He gave her one dua, simple, profound and loaded with meaning. Allahumma innaka afuun tuhibbul afwa fa'afu anni. O Allah, you are the pardoner. You love to pardoner, so pardon me. The Prophet ﷺ was deliberate in everything he did. And the fact that he chose this specific dua for the greatest night of the year tells us something deeply important about what Allah wants from us in these moments and what He is ready to give. Notice that the dua does not ask for wealth. It does not ask for health or success or status. It asks for afu, pardon, a complete wiping away. Not just forgiveness where the sin is covered, but a total erasure, as though the wrong was never committed, as though the page was never marked. This is the gift Allah is offering in these nights. And the Prophet ﷺ, who knew Allah better than any human being who ever walked this earth, pointed directly to it. because he understood that the greatest burden a human being carries is not poverty, not illness, not failure. It is the weight of distance from Allah, and Afu removes that distance completely. But do not misunderstand. This dua is a door, not a ceiling. When you stand before Allah in the last 10 nights and ask for pardon with a sincere heart, you are not limiting what Allah will give you. You are beginning the conversation from the right place. And from that place of sincerity, every other dua you carry in your heart has full permission to rise. The healing you have been asking for, the provision that has not yet come, the child you have been weeping over, the marriage that feels beyond repair, the dream that the world told you was impossible. These are not too much to bring before Allah in these nights. They are exactly what these nights were designed to hold. The Prophet ﷺ also taught us that Allah descends in a manner that befits His majesty to the lowest heaven in the last third of every night, calling out, "Who is supplicating to me so that I may respond? Who is asking of me so that I may give? Who is seeking my forgiveness so that I may forgive?" Now imagine that divine call happening inside the last 10 nights of Ramadan on a night that is better than 1,000 months. The convergence of those two realities creates something that no human tongue can fully describe. It is a moment where the distance between the servant and the Lord collapses entirely, and dua spoken from a trembling, hopeful, believing heart pierces through every barrier and lands directly before the throne of Allah. Then there is something that happens to a believer when life closes every door. When the doctor delivers a verdict that leaves no room for hope, when the bank account reaches zero and the bills keep coming, when the relationship fractures beyond what any human effort can mend, when years of dua seem to have produced nothing visible, in those moments, the human heart faces its greatest test, not a test of patience alone, but a test of belief. Do you truly believe that Allah can do what no one and nothing else can do? Do you believe it not just as a theological statement, but as a living, breathing, personal conviction that changes how you stand before Him in these last 10 nights? This is where the names of Allah become not just knowledge, but lifelines. Al-Fattah. This is one of the most powerful names of Allah, and it means the opener of all closed doors. Not some doors, not easy doors, all doors. When Allah is described as Al-Fattah, He is telling you directly that there is no situation in your life so sealed, so locked, so beyond reach that He cannot open it. The same Allah who split the Red Sea for Musa, who opened the doors of Makkah for the Prophet ﷺ after years of persecution, who turned the impossible circumstances of countless believers throughout history into extraordinary outcomes. That same Allah is Al-Fattah for you in your situation in these very nights. Then there is Al-Qadr, the one with complete, perfect, unlimited power. Human power has boundaries. Doctors reach the limit of their knowledge. Lawyers reach the limit of the law. Money reaches the limit of what it can buy. Relationships reach the limit of what love alone can hold together. But Al-Qadr has no limit. His power does not decrease with use. It does not run out. It does not require permission from anyone or anything. When Allah decides that something will happen, the entire universe rearranges itself to make it so. The Quran says, when He decrees a matter, He only says to it, be, and it is. 2 words. That is the distance between your impossible situation and its solution in the hands of Allah. And then Al-Wadud, the intensely loving. Some believers struggle to ask Allah for big things because somewhere deep inside, they do not feel deserving of His attention. They feel their sins are too many, their consistency too poor, their relationship with Allah too weak to bring such heavy requests before Him. But Al-Wadud dismantles that thinking entirely. Allah's love for His servants is not conditional on their perfection. It is not earned through flawless worship. It is part of His nature. He loves deeply and actively the servant who turns to Him even after falling, even after failing, even after long absence. To ask Allah for the impossible in these nights is not arrogance. It is the most sincere expression of love returning to its source. There is a conversation that happens in the heart of many believers as the last 10 nights of Ramadan arrive. It is quiet, almost invisible, but it is devastating in its effect. It sounds something like this: I have not been consistent enough this Ramadan. I missed too many prayers. I fell into the same sins again. I wasted the first 20 days. The people who deserve these nights are the ones who have been worshipping properly. The scholars, the hafid, the ones who never missed a taraweeh, not me. And so the believer pulls back. They reduce their expectations. They show up to these final nights with a diminished heart, asking for small things, whispering broken du'as. half convinced that the door of Allah's mercy has a condition attached to it that they have failed to meet. This is not humility. This is Shaitan's most sophisticated weapon, dressed in the clothing of self-awareness. The Prophet ﷺ said something that should shatter this thinking completely. Whoever stands in prayer during Laylatul Qadr out of faith and seeking reward, his previous sins will be forgiven. Read that again carefully. The condition is not perfection. The condition is not a spotless Ramadan. The condition is not a lifetime of consistent worship. The condition is faith, believing that Allah is worth standing for, and seeking reward, meaning you show up with hope, not despair. That is it. That is the entry requirement for one of the greatest gifts Allah distributes all year. And it is a condition that every single one of us, regardless of our history, is capable of meeting tonight. Look at the Quran and you will find that Allah's most dramatic acts of mercy were directed not at the already righteous, but at the broken and returning. The story of the man who killed 99 people and then 100 and still found forgiveness through sincerity and movement toward Allah. The story of the people of Yunus alayhi salam, an entire nation on the brink of destruction who turned back to Allah collectively, and Allah lifted the punishment entirely. The story of Adam alayhi salam himself, the father of all humanity, who made the first great mistake and then was taught by Allah the very words of repentance to use. Allah did not abandon him. He taught him how to come back. This is who Allah is. He does not design these last 10 nights as a reward for those who have already performed well. He designs them as a rescue for those who have not. The person sitting in regret right now, feeling the weight of a Ramadan that did not go as planned, feeling the sting of repeated failure, that person is not disqualified from these nights. They are, in a very real sense, the person these nights were most urgently created for. Because the mercy of Allah is always greatest, precisely where the need is greatest. There is a tendency among believers to treat knowledge as its own completion. To hear a reminder about the last 10 nights, to feel moved by it, to appreciate its weight intellectually, and then return to the same routine as before. The heart was stirred, but the feet did not move. The understanding deepened, but the hands were never raised. And so the nights pass one after another, carrying their extraordinary cargo of mercy and opportunity, while the believer remains on the shore, watching, informed, but unengaged. This is perhaps the greatest tragedy that can befall a person in these final nights of Ramadan. Not ignorance, not even sin, but knowing the value of what is available and still not reaching for it. The Prophet ﷺ understood something about these nights that went beyond theology. He understood that they required a physical, total, whole life response. Aisha radiallahu anha described his state in the last 10 nights with words that have echoed through centuries of Islamic scholarship. He would tighten his belt, stay up all night, and wake his family. Every one of those 3 actions carries a lesson. Tightening the belt was the posture of someone preparing for something serious. It meant he set aside comfort, set aside rest, set aside the ordinary rhythms of life, because what was coming was worth far more than any of those things. Staying up all night meant he did not leave Laylatul Qadr to chance. He covered every night with worship so that no matter which night it fell on, he would not miss it. And waking his family meant he understood that this gift was too enormous to experience alone, that love demands you pull the people closest to you toward the greatest opportunities available. This is the model, and it is a model built entirely on action. Qiyam, standing in the night in prayer, is the heartbeat of these nights. Even 2 rakahas prayed slowly with presence and sincerity in the depths of the night when the world is asleep carries a weight that daytime worship cannot replicate. There is something about the stillness of those hours, the darkness outside, the silence around you, that strips away every distraction and places you directly before Allah in a way that feels immediate and real. The Quran recited in those moments does not just pass through the ears, it enters the chest. The dua made in those moments does not feel like words sent into empty air. It feels like a conversation with someone who is genuinely, attentively present. Then there is sadaqah, giving in charity during these nights. The Prophet ﷺ was described as being like a fast wind in his generosity during Ramadan, and that generosity intensified in the last 10 nights. Charity given on Laylatul Qadr is charity given on a night better than 1,000 months, meaning its reward multiplies beyond calculation. Even a small amount given with sincerity in these nights has the potential to change your provision, remove your difficulties, and open doors that no human negotiation could unlock. These nights are not a spectator experience. They are a divine invitation to show up completely, body, heart, tongue, and hand, and participate in something that only comes once a year. Show up, Allah is waiting.